Let's walk through the operation of the oven and test everything in the circuit. Plug in range or reconnect power. Turn on the gas supply. Try the bake cycle. Now let's try to remember that with most ranges, when you program the bake cycle, the oven starts with a preheat. During most preheat cycles, the bake burner starts heating the oven and the broil burner cycles on later. But if you check for the bake relay to be closed and it's not, don't condemn the oven control without checking that the broil relay is now operating the preheat cycle. The very first thing we need to do is run a diagnostic test on the oven control. This will tell us the condition of the oven sensor, the door position switch, and the control itself. If the oven control indicates good when going through the diagnostic test, we know the oven control is good and should not be replaced. With that known, unplug the power cord or disconnect power. Remove the control panel rear cover to expose the oven control and the DSI board. There are 4 screws that hold the rear access cover in place. Now, with access to the control board, connect voltage measurement equipment to the CON 2-7 and CON 1-1 terminals. Plug in range or reconnect power. We know that there is 120 volts AC between terminals CON 2-4 to CON 1-1 because the oven control display is functioning. Program a bake cycle by pressing the bake keypad on the oven control and then the start key. Confirm voltage is 120 volts AC between CON 2-7 and CON 1-1. We know that these checks are good already because we ran a diagnostic test on the oven control first. The direct spark ignition board has a J1 connector at the top of the board. This is where we will do all the checks on the DSI board. The wires on the bottom of the board are outputs to the cooktop and oven igniters and can't be checked because the outgoing signals are too rapid. Unplug range or disconnect power. Connect voltage measurement equipment to pins J1-6 and J1-4 on the DSI board. Plug in range or reconnect power. Program a bake cycle. Check for 120 volts AC. Unplug range or disconnect power. Connect voltage measurement equipment to J1-1 and J1-2. Plug in range or reconnect power. Program a bake cycle. Check for 8 to 18 volts DC. Note that this result will happen quickly, within 4 seconds, only when you hear the igniters clicking. Remember we talked earlier about the oven trying to establish a flame within 4 seconds. After that 4 seconds, the oven is in a lockout for 40 seconds, and you will not get a reading. If either of those checks fail, replace the DSI board. Unplug range or disconnect power. You can remove the DSI board by disconnecting the electrical connections. Take note of the location of each of the single wires on the bottom of the board for proper replacement on the new board. Remove one mounting screw at the bottom of the board. Once the screw is removed, lift the board up and out. After the new board is installed, be sure to tuck the wires from the DSI board into the corner so they do not get damaged when you replace the rear access cover. The following checks need to be performed from the front of the range. Unplug range or disconnect power. Open and remove the storage drawer. Locate the gas distribution valve at the back of the storage drawer opening. Remove the red, orange, and blue wires from the gas distribution valve. Connect voltage measurement equipment to the red wire and orange wire. Plug in range or reconnect power. Program a bake cycle. Check for 8 to 18 volts DC. Note that this result will happen quickly, within 4 seconds, only when you hear the igniters clicking. Cancel the bake cycle. Unplug range or disconnect power. Connect voltage measurement equipment between the orange and the blue wires. Plug in range or reconnect power. Program a broil cycle. Check for 8 to 18 volts DC. Note that this result will happen quickly within 4 seconds only when you hear the igniters clicking. Remember, we talked earlier about the oven trying to establish a flame within 4 seconds. After that 4 seconds, the oven is in lockout for 40 seconds and you will not get a reading. Cancel the broil cycle. If these checks fail, replace the red, orange, and blue wire harness between the DSI board and the gas distribution valve. These wires have been known to get pinched or frayed at the corner location where they are guided down to the gas valve. They have caused many service problems in the field. Engineers are trying to fix the problem. If they are not checked when you get an unsuccessful test result, it could cause a misdiagnosis. Watch closely when replacing them. Unplug range or disconnect power. Check the gas distribution valve for 216 ohms resistance between the broil terminal, the 1/8 inch terminal, and the common terminal, the 1/4 inch terminal. Also check between the bake terminal, the 3/16 inch terminal, and the common terminal. If either of these checks fail, replace the gas distribution valve. Unplug range or disconnect power. Turn off the gas supply. From the back of the range, remove the incoming gas line and pipe adapter and the 2 gas outlet lines from the gas distribution valve. Remove the 4 mounting screws for the gas distribution valve. Pull the valve out and remove the electrical connections. Also notice the gas shutoff valve on the gas distribution valve. This shutoff will prevent the supply of gas to the oven burners if it is in the off position. Gas supply to the cooktop burners will not be affected. Make sure this shutoff valve is in the on position. When replacing the gas distribution valve, make sure the bake orifice slides back into the bake burner tube. Let's keep going to check some other components from the back of the range. Unplug range or disconnect power. Remove the lower back access cover by removing